Welcome, guys, and welcome to phase one. Phase one, which is building your metabolism. To build your metabolism, we're gonna have foods that are gonna help you have more energy, build muscle, restore your gut biome, and restore your hormones. This is the diet that's gonna do that. So, first things first, let's open up the app, right? When we go into the app, we're gonna go into diet, and we're going to see all the foods that I have for the diet. Every food will have the name of the food on the left, it will have the calories for the food, it'll have the amount of protein, carbs, and fats. So a lot of people ask me, hey, can I exchange this for this or this for that? Yes. All your foods are exchangeable as long as the protein, carbs, and fats are roughly or relatively similar. So for meal one, we have chicken breasts, which we have right here, chicken breasts, vegetables, rice. So the first things first, you have to buy the food. You have two options. Option one, go to the grocery store, look at the food list, buy the foods, bring it here. Option two, and it's the option that I personally use, is I just order the food online, it's gonna come straight to the door. So lots of grocery stores like Walmart or Uber Eats or a lot of things, bring the food here. This will save you a lot of time. A lot of people talk about time and like, oh, I don't have the time. This cuts 30 minutes, an hour of going there and coming back. So I prefer that you guys, all my clients, just go on the app, log all the food, and mail it straight to the house. Okay. So let's make meal one. Meal one is chicken breast. What we're gonna do, we're gonna buy your handy dandy chicken breast. Boom. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna chop it up into chunks, which I've already done, and we have here. The chicken breast is now in chunks, right? Step one, get the chicken breast, chop it up into chunks. Step two, season the food. Most important part, season the food. Guys, you're gonna be eating this food, daily. You want it to taste good. My staples, Tony's Creole seasoning, this is a staple. This goes on to all of my food. Why I love this is that it has flavor, but the sodium is really low compared to salt. Option two is adobo. These two seasonings will go on everything. Just about everything. Just about everything. These two seasonings, if you don't want to use all these extra seasonings, these two will always be my staple. Tony's Creole seasoning and adobo. Going three, we have some Cajun seasoning. I just want sometimes I'll add it, sometimes I won't, but seasoning is really up to you, but you want the food to taste how you like it. Three, this will be the garlic powder. Honestly, it just adds a coat to the meat. Really, not really unless your eyes like garlic, so I put it on there. Like I said, these are all seasonings that you want. Seasoning four, which is cayenne. I love some cayenne pepper. I love some spice, but some kick to my chicken. And last but not least, we have some Italian dressing, Italian seasoning. Not really needed. I honestly just put it on there. So how are we gonna season the protein? Because all of these seasonings are not high in sodium, I'm very generous when it comes to seasoning. I'm very generous. Now, if it was high in salt, I would have to measure it. I would really have to see how much seasoning I'm putting. But because all these seasonings are very low in salt, the garlic powder has no salt, the cayenne has no salt, the Cajun has no salt. The only two salt bases that we have are the adobo and the Tony's Creole seasoning. So this is gonna be our base because it has the most salt in it. And I'm really going to add seasoning to almost everything. At first, the chicken breast is white. At the end of this, your chicken breast will no longer be white. If it is white, that means it's unseasoned. And if it's unseasoned, then you're wrong. So, pro tip, To cook all the protein a little bit faster, we're gonna look at the meal plan. We're gonna open up the app again. We're gonna look at meal 3, and meal 3 says extra lean ground beef. So we have extra lean ground beef right here, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna cook the extra lean ground beef as the chicken is cooking, so we can roughly just cook all the protein at the same time instead of waiting for one pot and then flipping it. So 2 pots will make you cook the food twice as fast. So the ground beef is slightly different. How I season my ground beef is, yes, I still use the same seasonings, but what I do is I cook the beef first, and then once the beef is halfway finished, I start adding the seasonings to it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start with the pot. It's a smaller flame, let's cook up here, want a little bigger flame. Start the pot. Roughly to medium heat, sort of 5 or 6. We're gonna get an extra lean ground beef, and all we're gonna do is put it in the pot. So to cook the beef, you're gonna have to beat it up or break it down. And to know that the beef is ready or cooked, beef is very simple. First, it's red. Once it's properly cooked, it's gonna have a little darker grayish brown color. That's when you know when everything's cooked. Now, looking back at our chicken here, because we know we gotta stay focused, looking back at our chicken, it's seared on both sides. Now we're going to add our chicken broth to keep the moisture. Just a splash. That's right. For our beef, we're gonna get our spatula. We're gonna get our spatula, and we're gonna start breaking it down. Pretty sure if I flipped it over, this side is already gonna be burnt, or not burnt, but cooked. And now it's giving me that grayish beef patty look. Like I said, I won't add my seasonings until the majority of the beef is cooked. Going back to our chicken. I'm gonna do a quick test just to see if the chicken is ready. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my pliers or my tongs, and I'm going to try to break the chicken apart. If the chicken breaks in total or in half, like that, it just broke in half, not that much force. Because the chicken is broken in half, it's ready. So all these pieces are ready. I'm gonna try to break another one to see, like a bigger piece. Broke it, the chicken is ready. All the pieces that are done with the chicken, I'm gonna add into the Tupperware. Gonna add these pieces into the Tupperware. And then I'm going to rinse and repeat. We're gonna get the new pieces that are raw. We're gonna get the new pieces that are raw, lay it down, and we're gonna continue to do this until everything is cooked. So now we have the chicken here, we have the beef here, everything's cooking. We're trying to cook all the proteins at the same time so we can make this meal prep a little bit faster. We're gonna go back to the beef. And we're gonna keep on chopping it up. And we basically want the beef, all the beef to have that burger looking color. Cooked burger looking color. Or another instance is that none of the beef should be red anymore. When I was talking about colors, you see how the red, basically the red is the uncooked, and then the beef patty brown gray is the cooked. So we want everything to be cooked. But now that we're at the halfway point, this is when we're gonna start adding our seasonings. The same seasoning that we use on chicken, we'll use here. So add the Tony's Creole seasoning. Ground beef, honestly, beef does need a little bit more seasoning. It absorbs slightly different than chicken. If we're looking at the chicken, we're seeing some pieces that are almost cooked, how the white part is coming to the top. So a flip might be coming in the next 2 to 3 minutes. So we just did a full flip on the chicken. Once the side is cooked, we're gonna add, once again, our chicken broth so it can soak in the flavor, and then add it to the done pile. This is one thing that I do like about cooking ground beef, especially, or ground beef or ground turkey, is that as it's cooking, feel free to grab a small piece below because it might be hot and taste it. It needs more salt. Okay? Now with the chicken, you can't really do that. With the chicken, you can't really do that. But with the ground beef, when it's cooking, now you can start adding, what it's missing. It definitely needs more salt or seasoning. I don't think I added the adobo, because previously when I was seasoning the meat, it looked like I was putting a lot, but then when you taste it, nope. Here we go. We'll speed it up again. So same for the beef, because the beef, when it cooks, it kind of cooks in its own juices. We're not adding any oils, we're not adding any butters, because that is macros. So same thing for the chicken. It's a non-stick pan. You cook the chicken in there. We're not adding any oils. We're not adding any butters, unless it's in the plate. Okay, the beef is fully cooked, which is crazy. The beef cooked faster than the chicken. The beef is fully cooked. We're gonna take one more taste test to see if it's to our liking. To the piece. Perfect. So right now we're gonna lower the heat, and we're gonna let kind of the beef soak in its own juices, because we don't want it to be dry. Speaking of dry, let's look at the chicken real quick. It is cooked on both sides. So now that it's cooked on both sides, we're going to add our chicken broth. Just so it can soak up. So we do not want dried chicken. Anti-dried chicken here. If you guys want to see how the chicken broth looks, we add it. Just a small juice that's cooking with the chicken. So the chicken is going to absorb the chicken broth just to keep its juiciness. The ground beef is going to be finished and it's ready. We're going to grab a Tupperware to put it in there. Ground beef is finished. Everything's the same color. There's no more red. It's properly seasoned. We're adding the beef into the Tupperware. Thank you, non-stick pans. And we're gonna let that sit. Okay guys, last but not least, you need meal 3. And check the app real quick. Go into diet. Eventually you guys will have all the numbers memorized, but for now, especially when you're just starting, always look into the app to see what's the next food and how much the amount. Diet going down. Meal 3 is 150 grams of salmon. So we have the salmon right here. You need a knife to cut it open. As the chicken is still cooking in the background, right? So beef is done, chicken is cooking, salmon is the last thing. Now guys, all my fishes, right? Whether it's salmon, it's cod, or tilapia, I cook all my fishes the same way. I use the same seasonings as you guys see before, but I put it in the air fryer. So technically, I could have cooked the chicken on the stove, I could have cooked the beef on the stove, I would have had my fish in the air fryer, and they would roughly all end, or the beef and the fish would have added together, and the chicken also be cooked in the chicken. So this is the timely way of how to do your meal prep instead of cooking one person and waiting. Keep the one person waiting. We want to try to wrap this up as quick as possible. This is the most tedious thing, cooking meal prep, but there's like hacks, like I'll show you now, just to make this process a lot faster. So cut it open. And we're going to season this. I typically like to season it in the container. We don't want to, mess up another tray. We'll flip it over to its side. Where is Tony? There he is. I'll move down it quick. So I'm gonna go put that chicken real quick. Okay, yep, ready. Okay, my bad. How to handle chicken real quick. So with tongs. So what I'm gonna do, I'm seasoning it. I'm seasoning the salmon straight with tanner.
salmon really doesn't need too much seasoning. I try to season it very lightly because salmon does absorb flavor. Compared to beef, which I have to use a lot of seasoning, or chicken, I had to use a lot of seasoning. Salmon, I don't know, there's just something about it where it just absorbs seasoning. So I'm very light on the salmon for seasoning, very light. Guys, this is gonna be the easiest protein that we're gonna cook. Now, I do have another version of cooking the chicken in the air fryer. You can figure, I will pin that video. But today, if you have a tilapia, you have a whitefish, you have a cod, you have a salmon, now that it's seasoned, very easy. All we're gonna do is get our get our air fryer. Okay, air fryer is locked and ready. So, especially when using the air fryer, you want to, actually, I'll go show it to you guys. So yeah, especially when using the air fryer, you want to use air fryer liners, or aka parchment paper. What the parchment paper is what you do is this would help conceal the moisture. So, your salmon isn't dry, your chicken isn't. So what we're gonna do, slide it out. I have already a liner in here I didn't take out. Yuck. I'm gonna grab my new liner, put it in the air fryer. So same process. We would do the same process with chicken, with any other fish. We'll put the parchment paper, we'll season the meat, put the parchment paper in. We have our slice here, nice and thin. We have our slice here. Now my air fryer settings, I'll tell you what it is. There's already a fish setting for it, so click. And the fish setting is 350 for 10 minutes. It cooks the same way every single time. With salmon or fish, it kind of cooks it perfectly. Chicken breast is a little bit harder because we want it to fully cook, but at the same time, sometimes the fully cooks is a little dry, which is why we're cooking the chicken on the stove for more control. But fishes, the air fryer does perfect, honestly. So now the beef is finished, the chicken's supposed to be done, the fish is here. We have all the proteins cooked for all the meats. When it comes to the other, carbohydrates, typically if it's a sweet potato, you just boil it. Me, I use sweet potato, so I boil it, or I use sweet potato fries. I'll put it in the air fryer. Rice, I do not cook my rice. I'm lazy. I use a microwave rice. I will show you guys here. This is the rice brand that I use. It's called Bibigo rice. It is a Korean sticky rice. It cooks exactly the same every single time. There's no other ingredients. There's nothing added to it. Literally, you open it up. There's a bowl. You peel it, put it in the microwave for a minute. It's cooked every single time. So these are just ways that I save time instead of having to also cook rice. Vegetables, most of my vegetables are frozen, so I'll just put it on the stove, just like the ground beef, cook it, and call it a day. So the most time-consuming thing is gonna be the protein, which is why I showed you guys in the video. If you can cut corners in terms of rice or vegetables, I would do so just to make this process a little bit faster. Also too, rice like this is also portable. You can take it anywhere you want and microwave it, and also you get to eat it fresh.
This is the beauty about the air fryer, is that it comes out perfect every single time. So if you wanted to cook your extra lean ground beef in the air fryer, you would make it into a patty, you would put it in there, you'd have the beef settings, and it would cook. Chicken, same thing. Salmon, same thing. So you can use the air fryer to cook everything, but you just have more control, especially with chicken when it comes to cooking on the stove. Okay, now that we have all of our proteins cooked, we have our extra lean ground beef, we have our chicken breast, and we have our salmon, right? I tell people, this is the most important part. You can cook all the food you want. If you do not know how much you're eating, you are not meal prepping, you are packing a lunch. You can't control your body composition if you can't control the amounts. It's not just cooking beef, it's not just cooking chicken, it's not just eating rice, no, you need to control the amounts. Even now, I can eat too much salmon, I can eat too much beef, I can eat too much and still gain weight. It's the control in how much you're eating which controls your composition. So how do we know how much you're eating? You're going to need a food scale. Especially in the beginning, guys, use your scale. Now, eventually, you'll be able to measure, you'll be able to see it because you've been doing this so many times. I know that's 4 ounces. I know that's 8 ounces. Until we get to that point, keep that thing on you, keep the scale with you. Now, let's open up the app. So, we're gonna do meal 3 because that's the meal I wanna eat right now. And this is typically how I meal prep. I typically meal prep on Sundays, and I typically meal prep on Wednesdays. So 1, I'm gonna eat a meal right now because I'm hungry, but then 2, I still have all this food that I'm meal prepping for later. So going into the app. So for my protein, I typically when I make a meal, I like to give people protein first, carbs, then fats and fiber. So for this meal, I need 150 grams of salmon. I'm going to get my scale. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to put the plate on the scale. And right now that the plate is on the scale, it's telling me how much the plate weighs. What you want to do on your scale is going to click tare, which is going to erase the weight. Now I'm going to get my protein. Like I said, I need 150 grams. That's what the app says. I'm gonna put it on there, and that is 169. Okay, we're gonna act like that didn't happen. It's 169. But typically, guys, obviously if you're a little bit off, it's not the end of the world, especially when it comes to salmon. But you know what? For the video, I'll play with you guys. 150. $151. There it is, 149. It is very close, 149.6, basically 150 grams of salmon. Next, we're gonna need our rice. So, going back into the app, I'm gonna check how much rice I need for this meal. Rice, it's saying 200 grams of rice. So we're gonna get our rice, like I said, all we do is put it in the microwave, 200 grams. And that is 206, slightly over, but you know what, just for video purposes. You didn't see that. You didn't see that, you didn't see that. You guys are not seeing this. Perfect. So, the app says I need 200 grams of rice. Boom, 200 grams, I want you guys to see it. And last but not least, putting the scale on. Last but not least, we need 150 grams of vegetables. So we're gonna get our microwave vegetables, and we're gonna put it on the scale. And that is our 150 grams of protein. That is our 150 grams of vegetables. So this is the meal. Everything is weighed out. I know how much I'm eating. Now, this will be meal 3. We will do the same process for the chicken, 200 grams of protein. We'll put 200 grams on the scale. So let's say like this, right? Let's say I was going to add 200 grams of chicken to this meal. Because the weight is already here, if I add some chicken, right, it's going to add to it. So what you have to do, if you want to add, as we're adding the rice or adding the vegetables or adding the salmon, what you want to do is you're going to tear it. So take the chicken off, recipe 150, we're going to click tear. Now it's 0, then you can add another meal. You can add another item. If we're going to add, chicken to this meal. And guys, that is how you properly meal prep. This is how you properly cook your food, season it, weigh it out, and we would do this for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Once again, do the same process, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and keep on going. So, like I said, multiple hints and tricks on how to get this done quickly. 1, if you don't want to go to the store to order the food to your house, just like you do DoorDash, just like you Uber, order the food to the house. 2, cook multiple meats at a time. You don't want to be waiting on one stove. You can have the chicken cooking here, you have the beef cooking here, you have the salmon cooking in the air fryer. You want to kind of speed up this process. 3 or 4, also try to, I don't want to say try to get items that you don't have to cook. Like for me, just to speed up the time, I use a microwave rice. Me, to speed up the time, I use microwavable vegetables sometimes because I don't want to be cooking almost every single thing. So now, this is the best part, which is eating your meal prep. And of course it tastes delicious. This is exactly how I want it to taste. I control the seasonings, I control how long. Like your meal prep should taste good because you control how it tastes. Experiment, like yes, these are some of the seasonings that I use. Experiment with decent seasoning. Experiment with different seasonings. Find out what you like. This is meal prep. You can cook all these meals in so many different ways. But guys, just a quick little breakdown. We cooked extra lean ground beef on the stove, chicken on the stove, but you could also cook chicken in the air fryer. You can also cook the extra lean ground beef, make it into patty, cook it in the air fryer. We also cooked salmon. We actually cooked the salmon actually in the air fryer. So ways to speed up this process. A lot of times when it comes to meal prepping, a lot of times people do not meal prep because the food's not at the house. If I don't have the food at the house, I can't meal prep. Order it to the door. If you don't want to go to the store, order it to the door. Just like you DoorDash, just like you Uber Eats, it's the same process. It's gonna come straight to the door. 2, meal prep multiple proteins at the same time so you're not waiting for one stove. Get two pots, make sure it's non-stick so you don't have to use any oils, and then cook multiple proteins at the same time. We're cooking chicken and we're cooking beef on the stove at the same time to speed it up. 3, use an air fryer so you can cook another source of protein. We can cook all 3 sources of protein at the same time to speed up this process. I ain't trying to be Betty Crocker in here, I'm not gonna lie, but this is gonna get the job done, okay? And we can get the job done while tasting amazing because we control everything, guys. So this is the introduction, this is meal prepping, and all of these things that we talked about are going to speed up your metabolism so you can 1, have more energy, 2, increase your gut biome or heal your gut biome, 3, regulate your hormones, and 4, build muscle. This is essential to making this process work. This is phase 1 of boosting thermodynamics. Peace.